Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the campaign log. We have a new player this week, meaning that the seats are now full, all 5 of them. They are playing Jofin the Scald. Now, I have not played a Scald, I've not read the class, and I've only played in a game with one once, and it was only for a few sessions before their scheduling got in the way of being able to play the game. They're playing an angel-blooded Azamar. They did point buy, so their ability scores are fairly normal. Spent all their money. The other players decided to give them a cut of the money from the 3D dungeon. And I believe also, the Robe of the Archmagi that they found, instead of selling it because Skull is an arcane caster and they're good aligned, they can actually use the thing. They also just have a lot of stuff. They appear to be a bit old school in style. They just bought a ton of equipment. Even a bullseye lantern, even though everyone in the party has dark vision. They have, they mostly put just +2 mithril chainmail, +2 heavy steel shield, +2 Morningstar. They also grabbed a longbow, but I don't think they didn't try to use it at all during the last session, even though they were stuck in the back a couple times. So I think that's more there for decoration than actual use. Did end up having to grab muleback cords because between the mithril on the chainmail, making it so that way the armor was no longer decreasing their speed. They were then at the upper end of a medium encumbrance, so that was reducing their speeds. They got the muleback cords and the masterwork backpack, and they now have a light load of 466. The languages picked: Abyssal, Draconic, Sylvan, Common, Celestial, and Common Sign Language to go with the rest of the group. Their rage powers are Lesser Elemental Rage and Elemental Rage, so everyone's doing quite a bit more damage, especially since most of them are full attack builds, more or less. So, and quite a few of them don't actually use their swift actions very often, so it's basically 2d6 extra per attack. The Alchemist, however, is not accepting the Inspired Rage, so his damage is still high though because of the exploding bullets. Let's see, feats. Apparently, for some reason, Scalds get Scribe Scroll for free. I don't think Bards get that, but Scalds do. Let's see, Dodge, Fast Learner, so they get both the skill rank and the hit point as favorite class bonuses. Battle Cry, which is basically meant for Scalds. It basically just gives moral bonuses to attack and saving throws against fear for a minute as a swift action to all allies that within 30 feet they can hear you. Next feat is Scald's Vigor, which makes it so that way they gain fast healing equal to their strength bonus that the song provides, so fast healing 4. Which means they probably should be at full health. I think they're forgetting that, so I'm just gonna real quickly bump them up because they have been turning their song on for a while after they've been injured. And of course the same free teamwork feat as everyone else. Traits, we got Unscathed, which increases any resistance you have by 2 points, which as an Azamar they have energy resistance. And Talented, which is a +1 to a single perform skill, and all perform skills are class skills. Speaking of perform skills, they went ahead and did singing. The rest of the skills aren't super important. They have fairly good knowledge skills, which is kind of surprising. Oh, right, they're Bard. They're Scald. They just get a +4 for being level 8. But yeah. Spells. Prestidigitation, which apparently is one of the best spells or best cantrips in the game, but I keep forgetting about it. So the wizard that they met that works in Rustyard does not have prestidigitation. And when they asked why, it was basically, my answer was, because I can never remember that spell exists for some reason. I think it's overrated. It's, and probably a bit overpowered, to be honest. The Scald also has dancing lights, despite everyone having dark vision now. Haunted Fate aspect, mage hand, detect magic, and sift. I don't know what this does. I've never heard of this. It's divination. Targets 10-foot cube. Perception check with -5 penalty. Yeah, no, that's I can see why that'd be useful. It's basically mage hand, but for perception instead of moving things. Because if you won't accidentally trigger traps despite being able to effectively touch everything. That's neat. First level spells, we got Cause Fear, Biting Words, Auditory Hallucination. They took a Cure spell at every level, and Chord of Shards. Chord of Shards is evocation, which is nice, but I think everything else in here is mind affecting or language dependent. So it's gonna be a hot minute before that, in between the times where those spells actually are applicable. Let's see, we got Blindness, Deafness for second level, Blistering Invective, which is language dependent, and apparently also fire. And we also got Blur. Third level is Confusion and Fear, which are both mind affecting. So that'll be fun. When we do get to humanoid enemies, the Scald's gonna do some great stuff with their spells, but for now they're basically just doing Raging Song and hitting things with the Morningstar. They also have a spell-like ability from being an Azamar, Alter Self. And I believe that's it for the Scald. There's nothing super special about them. We haven't introduced Transformers much to them yet, although we did talk about Transformers during the session, but they didn't ask at all. So they're still trying to learn Foundry and deal with slow internet. But it shouldn't be too much of an issue if I just keep the map changes down. I also added to the main map, although players did not see this because to reduce map transitions, I just started them in Rustyard at the beginning of the session. I added a distance marker, give or take a bit, because there was a lot of rounding involved. 7 squares is about 50 miles. Basically, I took the 1 day travel time between town hops from here to here, including the small towns, and the travel rules in Pathfinder estimate 3 miles per hour for purposeful movement and getting point A to B. So, did some math. The average distance between the towns, if they were all evenly spaced, would be however many miles. And then I basically just took my fingers on the screen at that distance and counted however many that would be from Freyhell to Rustyard, made a polygon there that was about a rectangle, and then started rotating it until it was horizontal and made a rectangle that was about that size, and it went like a little bit over into an 1/8 square, so I just rounded it down and put an about sign in there. But yeah, because they have the boots of teleportation now, they did find a way to make all 5 players go on the boots of teleportation. They can only teleport 4 people. They're shoving a person in a bag of holding. And of course, doesn't matter if there's air in the bag of holding or not, because they're only going to be in there a few rounds at most. 1 round to get in, 1 round to teleport, 1 round to get out. They all have a constitution of 10 or higher. They can all hold their breath long enough for it. But yeah, basically they sold the loot from 3D dungeon, did the split, did some buying. Somebody, the war priest, he put a spell in the spell storing sacred weapon, but I don't remember what it was. It was something interesting, but that I personally didn't think would be very useful. But additionally, he also actually, I'll get back to that. But yeah, they didn't have anything else to do during downtime, so they pretty much just skipped ahead a few days because we're doing full maximum hit points for level, so they didn't want to use their downtime for retraining hit points. They're all at the same XP, and none of them had enough money and a thing they wanted to do with that money for other types of downtime. So they went back to the church. They were given the information. I complained to them that they hadn't asked what the who the cultists were a cult to. But they found out that the cultists were worshiping pestilence, a demon lord, diseases, plagues, pollution, stuff like that. And that they were also the first horsemen of the apocalypse, which matched the prophecy they found. And somebody was like, I wonder if that has anything to do with the prophecy that I found. And I responded like, yeah, subtlety, am I right? I'm great at it. Because that was a bit not the greatest method of trying to slide a prophecy in without anyone figuring out immediately, but I was in a bit of a rush and didn't really have much experience with the methodology I was using. But they're basically told that, yeah, even the leader among these cultists didn't know too much about the other members of their cult. They were able to give us, some names, but not locations or address, more beyond just in that general direction, some number of days, give or take, depending on how lost you get. So they had to kind of go through other channels of gathering information. Basically what they figure out is, hey, there's a disease that's fairly strong and going around in Rustyard. It's probably connected to this cult of diseases. So they basically said, yeah, we're going to send you guys down there. You need to figure out, first of all, where the disease came from, if there are any cultists there. If there are cultists there, capture or kill them. Attempt to treat the disease if you can, or find anything about a way to treat it. And if you find a way to treat it but don't have the resources, come back and report, stuff like that. I think I gave him another pointer or two, but I am not entirely sure. So from that point, they teleported to Rustyard. They debated for like 10 minutes whether they wanted to risk teleportation, because it was only seen casually, so there was a good chance of failure, like 13% or something like that. But there wasn't a failure. They were able to teleport right there. Sadly, the priest of Idite in Rustyard had died of the disease almost immediately, because they were like the first person other than the adventurers that found the disease to get infected, and they were old and feeble. So the current leader of the church in this area is Lady Winifred. And she, oh man, where do I start? So if we head into her church, the players have already been here. You can see their tokens. But Lady Winifred has an intelligence of 8 and a wisdom of 9. Very much min-maxed build. And if we go over to skills, her heal skill is -1. So she has no idea what's going on. Her wizard boyfriend is slightly better, but he's also not immune to the disease, so he hasn't really been, going near the diseased. So most of the town's diseased. The population's dropped from like 50 to 30 something. If we go to the second floor of the church, they went up here to the monk, of course, is immune to diseases. The war priest the next day, just to play it safe, cast 4 delay diseases for the people who are not immune in the party. and they got to quote unquote meet two of the heroes of Rustyard, which is the name of the adventuring party in Rustyard. There's three of them. One of them died in the dungeon. These two escaped after killing some zombies. And they have a current strength score of... it should be 0. Hold on. There we go. No, that's not... What? Base 10, age plus 1. What? No, your age should be giving you a penalty of strength. Hold on. Yeah. So as a age -1, base of plus 10 is 9, so 9 drain should put you at 0 strength. Okay, Foundry is being weird again. Here, if I do 20, will that fix it? No. No, because it just switches age to plus 11. That is... Well, that's fun. Okay. And the fighter within the Heroes of Rustyard also has the thing. Why is age giving bonuses to strength, preventing them from being at 0? Anyway, 0 strength is unconscious, so they've been unconscious for a few days. Lady Winifred has been basically shoving water down their throats to stop them from dying of dehydration. The players camped on the other side of the river in town. If I switch back to the Rustyard map, they were basically right over in this corner where the vision token is. It's going to be able to see on the map. They were kind of worried about random encounter, but they didn't want to teleport back to town or back to Freyhallow in case they spread the disease. They had Lady Winifred shut down the train station because she would have the authority to do that. She is a high-ranking member of the church, even if she isn't very good at anything other than combat and, you know, leading prayer or something. But basically, she goes around all day just shoving water down people's throats. That way they don't die if they're unconscious, and everyone else who still has strength scores are at least able to feed themselves and drink water. But the information they're given is basically, yeah, the heroes of Rustyard, the adventuring group, they went out into the woods like 10 minutes out. They found an abandoned shack that had like a dungeon or a tomb or crypt or something underneath of it. One of them died there. The other two came back, and within a day they were sick. They did identify the disease because apparently the identify disease spell just works. I now have to go find the right window that actually has the disease in it. There we go. It doesn't have a name. At least I didn't give it a name. I told him, yeah, you're the one who diagnosed it. You get to name it. That's how it works, right? They didn't. They made a joke name or two, but actually, find a good one. But basically, it can spread by contact, inhaled, or injury. It's DC 23, which is really high for a disease in D&D or Pathfinder. It is a magical disease that bypasses some types of immunity. So basically, it can affect, you know, undead, but the monk is still fine because it's a class ability that gives him immunity. Frequency once per day, fairly standard for disease. Same with the onset, 1 day effect, 1d4 strength drain. That's fairly common in diseases. But additionally, it also grants spell resistance against the healing subschool of spells, which makes it ridiculously difficult to cure. The War Priest had 2 cure disease or remove diseases prepped. Both failed. The first one he got past the SR but couldn't beat the DC of the disease because he rolled lower. The second one failed on the SR. And due to the high DC and the cure being 2 consecutive saves, no one's really able to recover from it before they hit 0 strength, at which point the disease can't really do anything else. They're already at 0. But yeah, so eventually they decided, okay, we're just gonna have to because the alchemist rolled like an alchemy check on the case, and I basically told him, yeah, no, in my world, especially in cultures that had the Church of Idite for 1,000 years, it's been tradition, if there's a really bad disease that wipes out a population, any research notes they had, or potential cures they had found, would be stored with the people that died of the disease in the burial tome. Basically, that's me saying this is the second time I've done this bit where to get the cure you have to go to where the disease originated. Which, I mean, that's it is a fictionalized version of what happens, but at the same time, figuring out, like, in the real world where a disease started helps with, figuring out what steps you have to do to find the cure. Like, knowing a disease started in bats and then made its way to humans helps a lot on its own. Location of the world it's from, etc. Of course, this is a heavily fictionalized version. So on we go to the dungeon. Let's see, disease dungeon. There we go. That's why I named it. Starts up here, just in the forest. They made their way to the cabin. Place was covered in dust and cobwebs, other than like a path through it where the heroes of Rustyard walked. They decided to prestidigitation the whole place fairly clean. There was nothing really defined other than dilapidated furnishings and some food that's so raw and it's now called dust. And he said, "Oh, so we can't do purified food and drink on it?" I was like, "Oh, it's plenty purified as is. It's dust. This is as purified as it's gonna get." So they went in. These two zombies were already dead when they got here. This one was not. They killed that one, but it was eating the dead hero, Rustyard. Half his body's gone. I don't know. They haven't finished the dungeon, so I don't know if they're going to attempt to grab his body when they leave. But these are plague zombies, custom thing that I threw together. 8 hit die, low AC, decently high hit points. I gave him 2 claw attacks instead of slams, just to kind of change things up a little. And I wanted to give them rend, so I kind of had to. And then, of course, they can inflict the disease, but they all have delay disease or immunity, so that hasn't really come up. They actually went first after doing that and figuring out what the where are they? What do they call them? Plaques. I call them plaques. Basically, big stone walls. They effectively act as tombstones for the 17 people buried here. They went back here, found the secret door because he rolled like a 29 or a low 30s or something on perception. He opened the war priest just immediately after he saw it, opened it up. He just went to the casket, passed it out, and the ghost came in. Angry ghost. AC before it was killed was high enough that it was like a 19. I think they rolled really low and a couple people missed a couple times. I also forgot to do spring attack, which would have made the ghost a lot more difficult to deal with. Basically going into the floor whenever it's not its turn and just fly by attacking someone each round would have been difficult for a round or two before someone thought, oh, you can just ready actions to shoot it when it comes up. But it would have at least gotten more than 2 attacks in, because as it is, it got 1 attack on its turn and then an attack of opportunity after that. And what its attacks did was just, it wasn't much. It was just 7d6 negative energy damage and d6 constitution drain with a fortitude save. I think it ended up at 25, but it was just hit die. Oh, it's supposed to be half hit die, isn't it? Whoops. I'm gonna go and fix that now in case I reuse the stat block. How many hit die did this thing have? 10. So yeah, so it should have been DC 20. It was set as DC 25 to negate the constitution drain. They went into this back room down here after that, found the cure, or at least what was the cure. It has long since expired. It's been expired for thousands of years. But the alchemist rolled in the 30s. He rolled like a 19 and he has a plus 20. So I was like, yeah, no, you're gonna be able to figure out how to make this stuff, or at least something fairly similar, even if you're missing an ingredient, and use some kind of substitute. They're currently in the middle of combat. It's the top of round 3. and they have to deal with, it looks like they got 5 plague zombies left. There were 9 in here, so they've already killed 4. They seem to be fairly good health currently. In fact, they appear to be at full health. Oh, no. The War Priest has 3 hit points missing, and the Alchemist has quite a few missing. It looks like a solid 36. Because he might be flying, but the roof's only 10 feet high. They can still hit him. He's still within reach. There are also these traps, which they have found out the traps exist because the monk stepped on one and the darts missed him because they have like a plus 10 to hit and his AC is in the 40s when he's fully buffed. It's ridiculous. But yeah, they just got that one combat left. That's the only part of the dungeon. They've done everything else in here. So it looks like they are going to they killed the ghost. They are going to slaughter all the undead. If they disable the traps, which I don't think they're going to do, but they might, then they'll get 3/4 of a level of XP. If they don't disable all the traps and just mark them and move around them, then it's only going to be half a level. The reason getting the cure is not worth a 1/4 level is because, well, I guess spoilers, but the point is it's not going to be, there's going to be a twist. The cure is effectively going to end up destroyed. Of course, the alchemist has already figured out the recipe to make more, so joke's on the people doing the twist. So the player has already found a way to succeed. But they're still going to they're probably gonna actually steal some thunder and get this wind that the bad guys' sails when they finish. And actually, now that I think of it, there should be an ambush just outside the place. The only problem is that if I go down here at wall controls, there's really not that much space on the map. So maybe I should just have it in the cabin. I'll pop this door closed. Actually, let's put a heavy weight on that door, I think. Go into humanoids. The lower cultist is the 7 hit die one, yeah. The other one is from the first dungeon. So theoretically, I should be able to scrap these guys. What name does this token have? Just to double check. Drow cultist, okay. Yeah, so if I just have a few of these guys in here as an ambush, that should certainly be nice. They don't have vision. Of course they don't have vision. I probably made them as NPCs. Okay, vision enabled, check, update token. Back to copy pasting. What buff do they have on them? Freedom of movement. Okay, yeah. Not that I think anyone's gonna make a grapple, but might as well. Yeah, so it's a bit difficult to see them, at least initially, especially since, despite the fact that it's a trapdoor, you can just go from here to here because of the way I did the walls. That should be nice. So yeah, just a little ambush. Maybe we'll throw a couple people outside just to make it difficult, at least. I think that should be enough. Solid 7 of them. So yeah, the ambushers, they might target the cure directly if they're just carrying it out in the open, but they have bag of holding now, so they probably won't do that. But yeah, so they're gonna have to deal with that. The door itself has been locked, and that's not gonna be an actual padlock. There's just gonna be a heavy weight on there, and the cultists are only really here to make sure like that they can't, don't have enough strength to lift the thing. Thing is, the alchemist probably has an enlarge prepped, or at least enough spells not prepped so that he can make an enlarged person. Yeah, he has an enlarged person prepped, so he'll be able to enlarge somebody, and the Scald song will increase strength, and they'll definitely be able to move the door out of the way. But yeah, that'll be a fun little ambush. Because really the only people that knew Yeah, that should work out nice. They should be able to figure everything out. Okay, yeah, so that'll be the end of the episode then, I think. And I'll see you guys next week.